just watch CNN, MSNBC, Fox, you'll watch these cable networks, and they'll say, we need to have a conversation on race in America. I would then say, okay, are you networks going to have a discussion about race in your companies? See, we want to have external third-party conversations on race.
Yeah.
When a conversation on race actually deals with you. So for instance, I gave a speech, MLK speech in Wilmington, Delaware. And it had all the different black, Hispanic, Asian students. They were talking about how they all get along and it's great and it's wonderful, and then all the public was there and the parents were there. And I'm sitting here going, this is some bullshit. I mean, it was. So I then said, okay, so I get this student, I said, let me ask a question. Who do you have lunch with? They go, what do you mean? I said, who do you eat lunch with? Well, I said, well, what do they look like? And then went to the next person. Who do you have lunch with? And so you can sort of hear what I call a butt dance. People in the chair like, ooh, what is he doing? I then went down the line of all these students. And so all of this talk was about how wonderful and post-racial and how they all get along. The reality is, when it came time to eat, mostly black students ate with black students. Mostly Hispanics ate with Hispanics. Mostly whites ate with whites. And what I said was, you are in an involuntary situation, which is school. You ain't got a choice. You got to sit next to somebody in class. But a voluntary choice, who you eat lunch with. Then I turned to the parents and I said, who is eating dinner at your house? If you black, any white folks come to your house for dinner? They start getting uncomfortable. That's the problem with this BS discussion on race. So if I'm sitting there on one of these shows and it's a national conversation on race, I would sit here and say to said host, got a question, how many blacks on your staff? How many blacks in management in this company? How many Hispanics in management? Where are they? So it's a little hard for folks to have a conversation on race when you're kind of exclusionary in your own hiring, but you are questioning conversation on race. That's my point. So in media, we get oh my God, I can't believe he went there, because we don't like to be questioned ourselves. I dare say, and this is the challenge that I will give to any media outlet in America that is a mainstream outlet. If you want to write or talk about a national dialogue on race, they should say, we are going to start with ourselves. So don't just invite folks from different communities. Why don't you invite your black, Hispanic, and your white staffers and say, no, we're going to have an internal conversation. That's the difference. The Akron Beacon Journal won a Pulitzer Prize a few years ago for leading a year-long citywide discussion on race that examined all aspects: public, private, corporate, sports. I mean, they led that. The New York Times won one several years later was for the same thing, but it really wasn't the same thing. That's the problem with these national conversations on race. They're fake conversations. They're not real. They're not substantive. Because folks want to dance around it, and it's really, no, what are y'all doing over there versus, no, hold up, I need to look at my house. That's the problem with these fake discussions on race, and that's why I think it's a throwaway line. It's easy to go, let's have a national conversation on race. All right, when y'all want to start?